This is a flute, and today we're going to learn how to put it together and how to hold it in our hands and where our hands are going to go, and we'll learn how to play our first note. So when you open your flute case, you can either put it on the floor, which is probably the safest way because then it can't fall. I'm going to do it on my lap so you can see me a little bit better. You probably have latches that flip up, and you probably have the name brand of the flute on the top side of your case and not on the bottom. So you want to make sure you have your case right side up. So lift your latches, and mine are buttons that I have to push sideways, and look inside, and you will find three pieces. This is the head joint, which is the end that we blow in, and the body, and the small piece is the foot joint. When you put your flute together, it's important that you put your hands in a certain place so that you don't bend any of the keys. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Pick up your head joint, put it in your left hand this way, so like sort of underhanded. And you pick up the body, and you look. If you look down at it, there's an end, kind of a long end that doesn't have very many keys. Put your finger in the end of the flute and lift it up at the end that has very few keys, and kind of underhand the body of the flute. Turn it over, and you're in position to put these two pieces together, and notice you're not touching any keys, so you're not going to hurt anything. So go ahead and sort of fit those together, gently twist them together, and you're trying to line up the hole on the lip plate of the head joint will basically line up. And if you look at it the long way and close one eye, you can see that it's in a straight line with the keys. If you have a couple of offset keys this way, you're basically lining up with the majority of keys will be in a straight line. Then underhand it with your left hand, hold it right at the joint. Pick up the foot from the long end that has very few keys on it. That's the end of the flute. Turn it over, and you're going to put the foot joint on the body. And if you notice this last pad right here, this last circle, there's a little mini straight rod on your foot joint. You're going to aim that rod directly in the center of that last pad. And you notice how I'm holding it here. I'm not putting my fist around the keys because that can actually bend them. So you're holding the flute, you're handling the flute without touching any keys when you put it together. So put the rod right in the center of the last pad. And that is proper alignment. Now you can close up your case and get it out of the way. And here's how we hold our hands. You can take your right hand, which you hold at the bottom of the flute, put your three middle fingers on the last three keys. Your pinky is going to go on the first button that's on the foot joint. That's called the E flat key. And your thumb will naturally fall underneath. You'll be in sort of this position. Your thumb will sort of just go directly in between your first two fingers, and it's going to actually hold up the flute. Your left hand is a little more complicated. It looks like this. This is the position. This is how you form it. This is the shape of your hand. So you're not making the letter C. You're going to take your pointer finger and pull it back. And you're creating a shelf for the flute to sit on. And that shelf is going to be sort of near where the very top button is. You're underneath there. Looking on the back of the flute, you've got two keys here. Some people have called it a hot dog and a hamburger. I've heard it said. But the long flat key, or the hot dog key, is where you put your thumb. If you hit here, you're going to get a different note. We're not aiming for that yet. So aim on the big one. And then your pointer finger reaches around and pushes the second button down is actually where you put your pinky, or your pointer. And then your next finger is going to skip one and go to the next button. And you will either have an open hole, but probably you have a closed hole with a plug in it. It's an open hole with a plug. So you're skipping the first and third button, and you're hitting the second and fourth button. And then this finger goes on that one. So that's where your fingers go. When you play, this is what your posture looks like. Your flute is basically parallel to the ground. And your first note is a B. Push your thumb on the hot dog key, your pointer finger, and your pinky down here on the E flat key. And that's what your B sounds like.